Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of SAP Basis Training. In this session, we will see more details about background jobs and background. First one, what we wanted to see is target and server group. So what we have previously seen is that if you have a background job which has a specific execution target, then how it is being handled. Let's say you have a background job which has a specific target, or let's say you have a background job, then first SAP system will check whether do you have a specific target. Let's say we have a specific target. In that case, this target can be fixed instance or a job group. Job server group. Job server group means the target can be one specific instance, or you can have a group of server grouped together as a server group. Then you can specify that as a target. Then it will that group is something like our logon group what we have created. We have logon group, we have RFC group, same like that we have background job server group. This can be created in transaction code SM61. Let's go to the SAP system. Okay, here you go to transaction code SM61. Here we can create additional server group. Right now we have only one instance. Then if you wanted to have additional server, then you can create it here, and you can also specify whether it's active or deactive. We have quite a lot of options here, whether you need to have traceable option, non-traceable options, and like this. You can also have health checks. It's quite useful ones. Let's see, if you go to change option, then you say create, then you can create additional server group. Okay, so this is background server group. Okay, so if you have a target specified, then it will check whether it's a fixed instance or it's a server group. If it is a server group, then the group will allocate based on your configuration the available resource within that group. Okay, if it is a fixed instance, then it will allocate to the fixed instance. Let's say if you do not have a specific target group assigned to the server, assigned to the background job, then it will allocate the background process to the background job based on the available resource. It's an automated load balancing, we can say. Okay, this is the best way to manage if you want to have proper load balancing. Okay, so in practical scenario, what we do is we just keep maximum, as much as maximum possible with blank, so that the SAP server itself will handle the load balancing. If in case you have specific background jobs which need to run in the specific application server, only in that case we will execute in a specific application server. Otherwise, we'll just leave it blank, because it's the best way to make the load balancing. And if, let's say, if the resource is not enough, then you keep some application server for operation mode, then you can switch it to the night mode for some application server, then you have additional resources. Like this you manage it. That is practical scenarios mainly works like that. Then let's see reserved class A servers. So far what we have seen, that we have class A and class B, jobs. So class A jobs needs to have more priority. Okay, so let's assume you have class B jobs, which is quite a big job. Maybe you have 3 work process. This 3 work process is occupied with 3 class C jobs for a period of 2 days, for example, and you don't have any free background jobs, and you wanted to run a class A jobs. In that case, what happens? So you do not have a work process where you can run this particular class A job. So then if it is a one not case, we can have operation mode and you can switch it, then you will automatically allocate. That's a workaround for that. However, if we have an option saying that I have one work process or one or two background work process which I want to reserve only for Class A jobs, so that the Class A jobs will never be delayed. That is possible to do that. By doing that, you can have reserved reserved work process only for Class A jobs. Even though I said one or two work process can be reserved for Class A jobs, in a perfect scenario, I will say don't reserve more than one work process per instance, for example, to Class A jobs, because we have previously seen the higher number of work process what we need to schedule should be Class B or Class C. It should be Class C, then it should be Class B should be minimal, then medium, then Class A should be minimal. In that case, you have higher number of jobs in Class C, which also may be quite resource consuming, which will be waiting for work process. So don't block more than one work process per instance. Okay, that will be the best scenario. So you can actually do this one in our operation mode. Let's go to our SAP system. Go to the transaction code RZ04. This is the operation mode which we have seen before. Here, if you see, let me take one, let's say one of them day or night, whichever it is. You can see this is background process. Yeah, the background work process, dialog work process, background work process. You have background process A, that is for Class A jobs. Let's say if I go to night mode, you can see night mode we have background work process 8 and the dialog work process 5. Here you have Class A. Okay, that is this BPA, that is Class A job. That's background process for Class A. So from this 8, you keep 1 for Class A. Okay. So here now we have one work process which is reserved for Class A. Okay, so total work process for B is 8. On that we reserve 1 here. Okay, this does not go reduced. So total B background process is 8. On that we have 1 reserved for A. Okay, so this is not reduced. Yeah, background work process till 8. Okay, so like this we can have reserved work process only for Class A jobs. Okay, this helps you in this bottleneck of not having resources for Class A jobs. Okay, in a general scenario we don't do this all the time. If in case, based on the analysis, based on the history, when you are running a lot of jobs, you have really a bottleneck, then we can have one reserved. As I said, once you start reserving this one, then this resource is not available for other jobs, then that will also be not a good idea. So you keep it only one. That will be the perfect way, so that you have some resources which is available for Class A jobs. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. The next one what we wanted to see is background users. So far what we've seen that you can create job which is running in your own user. So we also seen we can run the job in different usernames. Okay, so let's say as a basis administrator you may not have authorization to run some business transaction. However, the business user who is running some business transaction may not have authorization to schedule the background jobs. Okay, in a centralized administration process. That's what we have seen. So in that case, you can have jobs scheduled under the business users user ID, so that the program will be executed in a different user ID. That means using a different user ID's authorization. For example, we have a user here, SAP BG job. This will be the user which will be used to run this program. That means whatever the authorization this user have will be the one which is used to run this specific program. Okay, that is the user. Okay, that is the use of this one. However, if you see, in a better way to do that is create your own system user. Okay, your own background user, we can say. Background user is technically defined as a system user. The reason behind that is, let's say if you assign or if you create the job under a business user, maybe after few years the user may not be available in the system, or they will move to the different department, or they will leave the company. Then these jobs will comes to a standstill because the user will be deleted from the system. Then this job will not be running after that. That will be another problem to manage these kind of jobs. So in the ideal scenario, what we will do, we will create a user which is called background user, who will have more authorization than the normal users. So the programs which needs to be run in background, which basically running some business transactions, will be run under this background user, that is the system user. So using the system user, you cannot log into the SAP system, so you are quite secured. So the user cannot be used even by the basis administrator to log in and run some business transactions. So they can only schedule some jobs under this user, and the scheduling, if it is a centralized scheduling, then you will have, of course, some process how it is being scheduled. Then somebody will approve, or business will request you to do this one, then you will schedule these jobs. So like this you can manage the background jobs very nicely. Okay, maybe we can see how we can do this one in the different user ID. Let's go back to our system. Okay, let's say no. So if so far what we have seen, let's take one of the jobs which we scheduled yesterday, which is running every 1 hour. Let's go to the job log. You can see the step 1 is started with the program. This is the variant which we have selected, and this is the user which is using. This is the user which is also used to create this job. Okay, and however, if you create a background user, you cannot use that user ID to create jobs, because that's a system user. You cannot log in with that user. Okay, so let's go to create one user, maybe SU01, create user SAP background jobs. Okay, jobs. This is the user we want to use. Let's say create SAP background jobs. Logon data. Okay, I'll just use some password. Anyway, we don't use this one. Then I'll say system. Okay, so using this password, actually you cannot log into any system using dialog mode, because we have selected this as a system user. Okay, then I will go to profile and assign SAP all and SAP new. SAP all is the one profile which has all the authorization. SAP new means it has the delta authorization. If you are upgrading some EHP pack, EHP enhancement package or support package, then the SAP new will have the delta from the initial delivery of SAP. I will assign both of them. So right now we have created a user SAP BG Jobs as a system user. Now let me go to schedule the background job. /n SM36. Let me schedule something. Basis training background job. Okay. Different user. Okay, this is the name. And let's go to steps. Here we can specify our new user. SAP background BG JOBS background jobs. Okay, let's give a program. Maybe we will use the same program. Select one variant. Let's say SAP and login is our variant. Let's check and save. Now you can see here the parameter we are using, this one, the user where the job is scheduled under is SAP BG Jobs. Okay, let's go back and start condition. I will start immediately. Check, save this. Okay, now we have created the job and also released. It should have been completed now. Let's go to SM37 and execute. Now you can see this particular job is already completed. Okay, but you can see the job is created by the SAP basis. That means the basis user has created this job. But if you select this one and go to the job log, you can see this step has been executed with the user SAP BG Jobs. Okay, now let me go back. Let me create a copy of this one. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's go to the user /n SU01. I will take this user. I will remove the profiles. Let's say I remove the authorization. Let's say let's invalidate this user 0202. Okay, then save, and I will also lock this user. Okay, now this user is locked. Okay, so this user exists, but it's not a valid user. Okay, so let's go back to our SM37 /SM37. Let's copy the existing job. Let's say go here and say copy. Okay, 01. Let's make a copy. Okay, we have to go back and select the schedule. Okay, now this is our job. Let's go to change. Now if I go to steps, now it's under SAP BG Jobs. Go back. I'll say start condition, immediate, check, save. If I save it again, now the user 01 is changed. Now it's in ready status. Let's refresh. Now you can see this job is cancelled. Okay, let's assume we don't know the user got deleted or user got invalidated. Now this job is cancelled. Now if I select this job and go to job log, so if I want to see what happened to this particular job, I go to the job log. You can see job started, log on of user SAP BG Jobs in client 001 failed when starting the step. Okay, that here it says that it cannot use this particular user to log on to this client. Okay, so we can clearly identify this is the problem with the background user which we have created. Okay, so we can also see how it uses the system user to schedule the job. Also we can see in this example uh, how to analyze the job logs. Okay, this is how we can use the system user or a background user for scheduling jobs. It's always better you have one system user or specific system users for different company codes or different modules you can have, or you can also have one uh, background user which has most of the authorization. Okay, let's go back. Why I'm insisting this one is generally people what they do is they schedule under the SAP standard users, which is actually not a good practice, because standard users sometimes you may also do some another manipulations in the standard users, so it's not a good idea. So you have your own dedicated users, then you know this your jobs are scheduled under this particular background or system user. Okay, now let us see the external programs. So far what we have seen, we have, apart from ABAP programs, we can also schedule background jobs to run external command and external programs. So external command and external program are slightly different. However, the execution method is same, meaning to say it calls this SAP XPG. SAP XPG, this is the program which is called by both the method to run the external command or external program. If you go to MS-DOS, and you know command as well as the program in the DOS prompt is almost same. Okay, or for the operating system it's almost the same. The execution method is same, so it will use the same program to execute both. The external commands, the operating system commands, the external commands are predefined in the system, inside the SAP system. So you can create external command in the SAP system. This is basically the operating system commands. So whatever the commands you can execute in the OS level can be created as a command inside SAP. And these commands also can be passed with parameters, with additional parameters. So you may think, now how do I use these commands? Generally what we do is we use these commands in some kind of interface or inside the program to get some information, to write or to execute some command in the operating system. So let's say you want to execute some command in operating system, then you can create this command in SAP. Then that particular command can be called from an ABAP program. Okay, that is the use of these commands. And second one is external program. This external program means any command or program in the operating system level. Any command in the sense, let's say if you go to MS-DOS, for example, let's take Windows, there, let's say each command which you will execute in the DOS prompt, it's actually a exe program. So here external program does not make much difference whether it is a command or a program. However, if it is a command, you can execute with parameters. So when you are using this command, you can execute with different parameters. Okay, that is the difference in external command and external program. So how do we create an external command? It's quite interesting. We have a transaction code where we can create external command. The transaction code to create external command is SM69. Let's go to our system. You can run the transaction code SM69 directly, otherwise we can also go to the menu path, tools, then CCMS, then configuration, Yeah, here you can see SM69 display or change external comment. Okay, use double click, we come to this screen. Here you can create external comment. So the external comment should be created with starting with uh, Y or Z, the custom the customer namespace. So it has to start with Y or Z. So let's say create one external comment. So what kind of external comment we will create? For example, the host name. If you go to our SAP system, let's go to our SAP system, go to remote. This is our SAP system. Okay, let's use the host name. We have an external comment to identify what is the host name of this particular system. Let's say host name ECC demo. Okay, the host name of the notebook or the PC which we are displaying could be a different one. Okay, the host name of the server is ECC demo. So let's go here. Let's create an external comment z underscore h underscore name. Okay, this is our external comment. Here we can specify what is the operating system comment which you want to execute. Let's say host name. Okay, this host name of course does not have any additional parameters, so it's a simple one. If you have some command which has additional parameters, then you can execute with that parameters. Okay, so here you can specify whether additional parameters allowed or not allowed, or if you want to execute the same way which you have mentioned, then you can remove this. So when you execute it, it will not allow the additional parameters. Okay, okay, now checked, it's fine, we can save it. You can also see there is a check module. The check module is again quite interesting one. Let's say if you want to have additional authorization checks to run external command, then we can use this check module option. So it will call this function module which you are going to specify here, and you can do some authorization validation. In general, you have an authorization for running external command or external program. We can use that one. Otherwise, you can also use, let's say otherwise means if that is not sufficient, then you can use additional function module which can be used here for authorization validation. That means before you execute this command, it will call this function module to do this specific action. Okay, so let's save this one. We will come back to this again. Let's create a new session. Let me show you the authorization object we have for this background processing. If you go to SU24, if you go to authorization object, the object name which we will be using for this is S underscore R Z L underscore A T M. Okay, this is for processing background jobs. If I execute, now this particular object is checked in so many places. You can see here. Many of the transaction code will check these authorizations. Let's say if I go to the display document for this object, then it can tell you all the details. This is all management system, all display authorizations. So you can see this, it has been checked in many places. So using this object, you can restrict the background jobs operations. It is for background jobs administration. Okay, let's close this. Let's go back to the operating system comment. Okay, we can also execute this command from here. If you simply say execute, then it will execute this command. If I say execute, okay, when you come to the execute button, you can have additional parameters. You can see if you wanted to send additional parameter, you can send it additional parameters. You can also execute locally, or you can also execute in a different server if in case, or you can also execute in a different destination. If you have an RFC destination, you can specify it and you can execute it there. So right now we will execute locally. Let's say execute. Now you can see the output of this particular command, host name, is ECC demo. Okay, this is the way you can create external commands. Okay, so let's go back. So the external command which we have created is EZ underscore H underscore name. Okay, now let's schedule this external command as a background job. Now you can see we have created one command. It's a customer command. We can see the type. These are all SAP commands. It's a customer command, and this is the operating system is used is Windows NT, and the command is hostname. Okay, you can also execute here. Just simply double click and say execute, then local, say execute, then you can execute it. Now let's schedule this as a background job. Let's go to the transaction SM36. Let's say OS command background job for training 01. Okay, then go to the steps. Now here we need to say it's an external command. Okay, now we can select the name of the command, or we can key in the command. You can say our command is this one. This is our command which we have created, and you can also specify parameters, same like when you execute directly. Also you see in the parameters here also you can specify the parameters, or if you are calling this external command from a program in different stages, you will call this external command with different parameters also possible. Then we can also specify the operating system. Our operating system is Windows NT. Okay, and we can specify which target server we want to run, but in our external command itself we already specified it's a local one, so it's fine. We can leave it like this, or if you want to specify it in a different target server, then we can also still specify target server. In the case, because here it's here it makes it very important because we are searching for the host name. In that case, we need to specify what target server which you want to run. Okay. Okay, now I save it. Okay, now we created the step. It's an external command. It's going to run in this user. Go back, say start condition, immediate, check, and save. Okay, save it. Let's go back, go to SM37, execute, and we can see our job is completed, but this does not have a spool, because the spool, the particular program which you are going to execute should support the spool, should support creation of the spool. Okay, here we don't have it, so let's go to the job log. That's what we have. Here you can say job is started. This is the step which is executed, and this is the external command executed. Release parameters, so there is no parameters. So program, the external program output given message and ECC demo. Then this is the program. It is called SAP XPG started in this server, and this is the process ID. It is run. This is the process number. This is the run. This is the process ID coming from the OS. This is the process number. This particular external command was run under, and this is the process ID coming from the OS, and this is the output. Okay, you can see which time it is executed. The previously, which we also seen in our previous the training that you can see only the job log at the end, meaning to say at that point, meaning to say it makes sense at that point. It was meant that you can uh, see the job log once it is completed, what is done. However, you can also see the job log uh, if the program is running, because to see what stage, if you have so many steps in your background jobs and you wanted to see how many steps it is completed, then you can go that stage and see the job log, how many steps it's completed. Actually, it will keep creating the job log. Okay, the active stage also, whenever there is something which needs to be recorded, when there is some log which needs to be recorded, it will be recorded. You can still see the job logs when the program is running. Okay, now we can see ECC demo is output. Okay, this is how we can create external command and schedule it under a background job. Okay. Okay, now let's go back. Now let's see external program. How can we run an external program? So for that, what we will do, we will go to our operating system. So let's say dir is a program to display the directory. Okay, so I will create a program with the command dir. Okay, you know, we can create a batch file in Windows, so that is like a normal batch file. We can run this batch file, that will run like a program. Okay, it has a lot of commands. So what I will do, I will say copy con list.bat. okay, then I'll say dir and control Z. Now this file is created. If I say type list.bat, and this is the command inside this list.bat. If I say list, then it will display the directory. So this list.bat is a program which we have created, very simple DOS program. So now we want to run this DOS program from SAP. Okay, so let's go to our SAP system, slash go to SM36, say OS command background job, second scenario. Okay, here what we will do is go to the steps and go to external program. Then it will give you the third option here, external program, where you do not have a command. Yeah, command, you have to select the command. Now we need to specify the program directly here. The program right now, if we go to here, it is in the C drive, C:/list.bat. Okay, this is the location of this program. Let me specify it same like that, C:\list.bat. Okay, this is a program which you want to run. There is no parameter, no host, no specific host. So I'll say check and save this. Okay, now I go back. Actually, this list, it will run from the working directory of the SAP. It should run from the working directory of the SAP. Let's see how it runs. Let's say start condition, I will say immediate, check, save. Say saved. Okay, now this job went to release status. Let's go to SM37. Now I execute. This is finished. Let's select and let's go to the job log. Yes, you can see it is started. This is a step, it is started. This is the program. There is no parameter. The execution program was under this directory, because this is the work directory of SAP. So it went to the work directory SAP ECC, then the instance, then works, then it executed the command which is inside this program dir, then it was displaying all the files, all the directory informations from that particular directory. You can see all the files here, quite a lot of list. Okay, and this is the program it is executed, and you have the process ID as well as the process number. So right now what we have seen is that you can trigger a job from operating system. Also you can trigger a program from SAP. The both direction it is possible. These kind of informations will come very handy, very useful when you are developing an interface, because you need to really do some kind of triggering from operating system, as well as you want to run some programs from your SAP systems. So this will become really useful, that kind of scenarios. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, we can also see some control flag. So if I go here, if I go to the steps, so these are all the flags which you can select actually. So right now we have selected log external output of job log, external errors if any, and the waiting for execution, or if it is termination, that also we can log. This all already by default log. You can also activate the trace if it is necessary in this particular control flag, then it will also have the trace of that. Okay, okay, let's go back. And this SM37 selection screen also quite important to understand. Let's say you wanted to monitor lot of job in one go, then you need to specify the job name accordingly. Let's say if you have a proper naming convention, then you can use the wildcard, then you can find that specific jobs. Otherwise, if you put star star, then in actual scenario you will have lot of jobs, then it will be difficult for you to monitor this one. So it's always better that you have a proper naming convention, then you can use the wildcard to restrict this one. Okay, we've seen the event, we seen how to filter it based on event. And also, let's say if you have an ABAP program, so let's say you have a program, but it is scheduled in different job names, and you don't know what is the job name you have created, then this will be an useful option that you check based on program, ABAP program. So for example, let's take this program name. This is our program name. I will copy this one. To copy, you press Ctrl Y, then select this, then Ctrl C. Okay, now let's assume I don't know what are the jobs I scheduled for this specific program. So if I want to see only the jobs which is running these programs, then I can put the ABAP program here, then say execute, then it gives me the jobs which is run jobs only for this specific program. You can also do the filtering criteria, the program name, only this one. Here also we can use the wildcard. Let's say if I put star, then use the same. Yeah, so like this you can monitor this one. If let's say you have different kind of job names or different programs, but you wanted to put in the same screen, then it is not possible here in SM37. For that, SAP have different application coming from solution manager called Redwood. Using the Redwood, you can monitor different kind of jobs, and you can also schedule nested jobs. It's quite useful application. You can use that one, but it comes with solution manager. And you also have something called extended job selection. This is also quite useful sometimes. If you go to extended job selection, you can create a kind of variants where you can select, or you can select this variant to run this one. For example, this is the default one. You can create additional variants, and you can also specify the job name, username, which target, and what status you wanted to see, what steps you wanted to see, and this kind of informations. Yeah, then you can save this as a different name, then you can execute it like that. Okay, this is also quite useful sometime to monitor this background jobs, because many of times that in the kind of month end closing or year end closing time, you will have a lot of background jobs running the system. Then you need to monitor these jobs. Then this role will become quite handy in that kind of scenarios or situations. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Okay, with this we are coming to the end of the session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.